Good afternoon. Here we are on a Saturday with more information surrounding the NFL. Today I'd like to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, Marquise Brown, and Earl Thomas. I also have 2 spots left in the Get Your Fix Fantasy Football League, so please message me or comment on the video if you'd like to be a part of that. So, are you ready to get your fix? Well, after the Dallas Cowboys signed Everson Griffin to help their defense out, things went a little sideways. Their defensive tackle, Gerald McCoy, injured his quad and needs surgery, which is going to end his season. However, though, Gerald McCoy has an injury waiver on his quad in his contract that if he hurts his quad, then the Cowboys can cut him, in which they did. So he is allowed to keep about $3 million of that signing bonus, but the Cowboys don't appear to owe him anything else. Being that McCoy is 32, though, this injury could mean a couple of different things. The first thing is he could come back next year and maybe sign with the Cowboys or any other team and have a okay season. Come back and do what he's been doing for however many years. The second thing is he could come back next year. His production could dip drastically. He could go from being a top defensive tackle to being not even starting. So, I mean, that would be kind of devastating to his career, but at the same time, you never know. The last thing, though, that is possible is he could retire or consider retirement, which I think is probably not likely, but you never know. So this is a pretty big hit to the Cowboys defense. I think the Cowboys team is going to struggle this season on the defensive side of things. But don't get me wrong. They're still pretty, they're going to put up a good fight in their division. Okay, I mean, they got their only real competition is that Philadelphia Eagles, and I think they tied last year, and the Cowboys got in the playoffs. But after this hit to the Cowboys, I think this Philadelphia Eagles team might just win the division. So moving over to Baltimore Ravens wide receiver Marquise Brown, who had a really solid rookie season last year. Brown put up 584 receiving yards with 7 touchdowns. Now, he didn't have a lot of receiving yards, but that's due to Mark Ingram and Lamar Jackson both having 1,000 rushing yards. So with Ingram and Jackson actually running so much, 584 receiving yards is pretty decent, at least in my eyes. So Brown also showed that he could get into the end zone. One thing that Hollywood Brown has shown is that when he came into the league, he only was about 155 pounds, which is pretty small, to play in the NFL. Now this offseason, however, Hollywood Brown actually gained 25 pounds of muscle and now is sitting on a solid 170. This man is gearing up for a really, really good second season and wants people not to forget his name. He wants to put his name out there and have it stuck. So I think adding this 25 pounds is going to help his game tremendously, as now he's going to be able to, bust by defensive backs a lot easier. He's going to be able to fight the hands and stuff. It's also going to be a lot harder to tackle a Hollywood Brown, which could end up being kind of a big issue. Brown also ran a 4.32 in the combine, which has probably gotten a little faster. He has, because of adding that muscle and training for a whole year in the NFL and then putting on that 25 pounds again, like I said. So I don't think that's going to slow him down at all, but I think it's going to make him a little quicker, especially if some of that muscle went to his legs. And if Lamar and Mark don't put up 1,000 rushing yards, I think Hollywood Brown will be capable of putting up about 1,100 receiving yards with 13 touchdowns and be a top wide receiver in the NFL, just like A.J. Brown after being a rookie last year. So just watch out for Hollywood Brown to put on a show for the Ravens, and the Ravens probably are going to make another run at things. Now, moving to Earl Thomas, who was kicked out of practice yesterday due to a fight with teammate Chuck Clark, who was the other safety. He was then told to stay home today with no decisions have really been made yet on his status with the team. So if Thomas and the Ravens parted ways, one team I could see and I would believe would be a good suitor for him is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles currently have Jalen Mills and Rodney McLeod at safety. However, though, I think Earl Thomas could come in and be placed over McLeod now, where you would have Jalen Mills and Earl Thomas as their starting safeties, which in my eyes looks like a scary duo where offenses really wouldn't have any clue what to do. Okay, they would have harder problems throwing the deeper routes. They would have to run a lot of shorter routes because these guys are ball hawks and they've been in the league for quite some time. Anyways, the last year with the Ravens, Earl Thomas had a pretty good season where he put up 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 2 sacks, and 49 combined tackles. So not bad by any means. And he is, at least in my eyes, one of the top safeties in the league, at least for the past couple years. He's definitely not top 5. He's probably top 10, maybe top 15 safeties in the league. But, he's always ready to go, okay? He can be very dangerous if he gets hot. If he gets hot, forget about it. He can get 5 sacks, he can get 5 interceptions, 8 interceptions, whatever he needs, he can get it. But I think the Ravens should keep Thomas. But if not, then the Eagles would be the best option, at least in my eyes, to take him. So, well, that's going to end our discussion today. We talked about the Dallas Cowboys losing defensive tackle Gerald McCoy to a quad injury. And then we talked about Marquise Brown possibly having a breakout season in year 2, just how I mentioned with A.J. Brown and stuff. So, and then we talked about, Earl Thomas getting kicked out of practice after he got in a fight in an altercation. And yeah, so thanks for stopping by. We'll see you Monday. And you just got your fix with the Wicks.